Welcome in to the Uncrowned post-fight show. We just got wrapped up watching UFC 312. It was the night of and stills. DDP retains against Sean Strickland. Weili Zhang retains against Tatiana Suarez. We are here to break it all down. Let's bring in the man, Ariel Helwani. Ariel, how we doing, man? Late Saturday night.
Doing all right.
312 in the books. What'd you think of the card, man? What'd you make of that affair?
Well, great job by you and Rick on the watch party. I know it's a snowy, cold night in New York City, so good to be inside watching.
What are we using for the cam here, man? We are in Ultra HD. We got a little bit of depth.
Yeah, you know yourself.
The colors are popping.
We've been working on things, okay? For the past 4 fucking hours, I've been here working on this setup. I'm not quite sure. Does it look better? Because
no, legit, this looks incredible. It looks like depth. The bookcase looks better than ever, I must say.
Well, I appreciate that because it's been pretty gnarly. I mean, yesterday on the crack, I looked like absolute dog shit. I mean, it was awful. I was embarrassed. So we had to work on that. Unlike Sean Strickland, we made some adjustments. He did not. Definitely have some thoughts. Obviously, the 2 biggest stories of the night are the main and co-main. They were the biggest stories going into tonight, biggest stories coming out of this card. Let's start with the main event. I said it multiple times. I did not want to see this fight. I didn't think it was warranted. Sean Strickland did not successfully defend his title a single time. He lost a fight to DDP, which was close, fair and square, 13 months ago. And then he came back and won, a solid but somewhat unspectacular fight against Paulo Costa back in June, and that was it. I wanted to see the Khamzat fight. I wanted to see it right away. I didn't think this was necessary, and Sean did nothing in this fight to make us think that he was going to win at any point. As his coach, Eric Nixick, said, and credit to Eric, he was very honest. He was very brutal. He was very forthright. Each and every time they went to him in between the rounds, it was all very predictable. It was 1s and 2s. He was plotting forward. He was hardly throwing any kicks. He was hardly mixing it up. There were very few combinations. That was not a fun fight to watch. It was not a entertaining title fight, but I don't really blame DDP. DDP on his worst day is somewhat entertaining because he's just so kind of unorthodox and awkward. He was doing everything he could to, bring the fight to Sean, but there was no real reason for him to take any risks because Sean was doing absolutely nothing. Plodding forward, 1s and 2s, like no takedown attempts. Not even the threat of a takedown was presented to DDP. And in the end, I had it 5-0. I don't know what that one judge saw, 49-46, who cares? DDP appeared to have broken his nose in the 4th round, not his nose, Sean's nose in the 4th round, gushing blood, pouring down, and he wins the fight. And at the end, he says, is there no one else? And apparently was looking at Alex Pereira. The fight to make is obviously Khamzat Chimaev. That is the fight. And we'll get to the co-main event in a moment, but it does feel like there are a lot of similarities between Khamzat and Tatiana Suarez, 2 fighters that we've been waiting for them to finally get a title shot. We'll get to Tatiana, but this is the fight to make. It's Khamzat Chimaev versus DDP. There was a lot of talk about, obviously, DDP and Sean Strickland and Khamzat all week long. But that's the fight to make. I'm intrigued. I'd love to see it. I'd love to know, they got it wrong as far as the co-main is concerned. I'd love to know who the favorite would be going into that one because right now, I'm not sure. DDP, by the way, GC, 9 in a row and has slowly but surely put together one of the all-time great runs at 185 pounds. It's extremely impressive. You got to give him his flowers.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. Like, Rick has been the one beating the drum on this one for a while, that the resume that DDP is putting together. Strickland twice, Whitaker, Adesanya, and now he has a chance to take Khamzat Chimaev's O, which has got to be a top 3 most valuable O in MMA right now if he's able to take that and add that jewel to his trophy case.
Did we lose you, Ariel? Oh.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, I agree with you. One of the top 3 O's. We talked about this on Boys in the Back. Watch that every Thursday on this YouTube channel right here. The thing that I wanted to ask Ariel, and we'll ask him when he gets back. Actually, let me start.
I'm here.
There you
Okay.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
Snowy night, we get it, man.
Two things for you, Ariel. Two things for you. Number one, did this performance by DDP change anything in terms of how you would view a fight with Khamzat Chimaev?
I mean, we didn't see much from Sean to give us any insight into how DDP would do against someone like Khamzat. I think Khamzat. Look, I did not think Khamzat was going to beat Robert Whittaker. I'm on the record. I can't change that. I think Khamzat will make this fight a lot more intriguing. But I got to be honest, after watching the Zhang Weili Tatiana Suarez fight, and I know they're two completely different fighters, but there's so many similarities between Tatiana Suarez and Khamzat in that we've been waiting for them to finally get a title shot, and due to various weird reasons they didn't. There's a part of me that wonders, like, wait a second, is it going to go the same? And I know DDP isn't Zhang. It's nonsensical, but I'm done counting out Dricus du Plessis. I'm done. And the truth is, we don't really know how good he is just yet, because two of those title defenses were against a Sean Strickland that didn't really do much. He did much more in the first fight, but this fight is like, this is going to be the easiest title defense of his career. Sean brought nothing, and it's very disappointing because I can't imagine he ever gets a title shot ever again. His coach is imploring him to dig down deep. If maybe we'll find out that staff was bothering him. Maybe we'll find out that something else. But like, there was never a moment where he even threatened anything different other than ones and twos. Honestly, when you're watching that, you have to remind yourself that that's a title fight. Like, that's a title fight. That's a guy getting a rematch in a title fight, and he's never going for broke, not even in the fifth round. And so I don't blame those fans for, usually I'm the one saying, the fans, you shouldn't boo, but I don't blame you for booing. And I don't think any of it was DDP's fault, by the way. He did exactly what he had to do. I think he has a strong chance against Khamzat. We'll see what happens, but that's the fight to make. Like, DDP versus Alex is great and all, but there's no way that happens before the Khamzat fight.
Here's the one place where I'll make an excuse for Sean. And it's a credit to DDP. I was very impressed with how high volume DDP was in this fight. And I wasn't expecting that to be the path to victory. I was expecting more of the grappling, expecting him to mix it up more. Whether staff was a factor at all, you have to imagine it probably was, if we can confirm that he had staff. I mean, the pictures are pretty clear. I imagine that will affect his activity. But I also think what affected his activity is just how persistent DDP was. It was not like the first fight where they seemed to be taking turns kind of throwing their flurries and throwing their combos. DDP was on him from jump, and that cardio was insane. And I joked with Connor during the watch party that, like, whatever that nose surgery that DDP got, every fighter should probably have that. We should probably have that just to enhance our lives, because the difference between the guy that we saw early and this guy now, who in the fifth round is landing his most significant strikes, is unbelievable. And so I'm going to credit, I don't disagree with you. I think Sean Strickland had a baffling performance, right? He needed to come in and have something different than the first fight. He needed to double the volume. Instead, he halved the volume in my estimation, and it was just the wrong game plan. But I do want to credit DDP, I think, which stifled some of that, because his volume was insane.
Sorry, no, I'll say that is fair. As you were talking, I looked it up, so I don't know this off the top of my head. DDP threw 32 less strikes in this fight than he did in their first fight. 316 this time, 358 last time. And by the way, this time Sean Strickland threw 263 last time. I have it right here. He threw 419. So
I said he almost halved it. He really almost halved it.
Yeah, but I don't think DDP, I didn't feel like he was upping the output. Here's the thing with Sean Strickland. Like, Sean Strickland is a very entertaining guy. Again, I'm not bothered. I'm not offended by the things that he says before fights, because, as I said after the Toronto fight, I don't look to Sean Strickland to be my moral compass. Like, he's a character. Look at the music he comes out to. He is a pro wrestler. And he plays that character very, very well. So I don't get offended by any of this. It's all part of the package. But when you talk a big game about your opponent, about your spot in the sport, and about the first fight and all that stuff, you do expect a little bit more. And this time around, DDP, as I think I said earlier in the week, I'm pretty sure I said it on one of our shows, I thought that DDP will have been able to, see the best of Sean Strickland, download all that information, and prove that there is a bigger gap between him and Sean, and right now the rest of the weight class. So, credit to him. I don't think any of us ever saw this coming. I remember when we talked to him in that gym in Jacksonville when he was desperate to get a fight, when his opponent fell off, the week of the fight. And who could have ever predicted that guy, the guy who beat Darren Till, a couple fights later, would turn into this? It's really incredible. And when you watch him in a vacuum and you look at his skills, when you look at Izzy in his prime, when you look at Anderson in his prime, I'm talking about the great, middleweights, you're like, wow, that is high level stuff. But he makes it work. He really does. And he finds a way to win, and he stifles and he frustrates, and he just doesn't go for style points. Like, I'm talking to you guys right now and they're playing the highlights, and a lot of this stuff is awkward, herky-jerky stuff, and it's like, holy crap, this is the champ. But it works. It works. I'm trying to compare him to like an athlete in a different sport who just doesn't look pretty, but just it works, and he's successful in doing so. And I don't know if there's anyone out there. It kind of reminds me of like Bill Cartwright back in the day, the way he would shoot baseline jumpers, and it looked so weird. Joakim Noah. Somehow they made it to the NBA with this like weird style, and Dricus somehow made it to the top of the middleweight mountain with his weird style.
Well, something that you said earlier and something that we were saying as the fight was going on is that there was essentially just no moment from Sean Strickland of putting DDP in danger, of making the fight memorable on his end. He really had nothing to offer. The most memorable moment was him getting his nose broken, and that was about it. So
maybe the post-fight interview, right?
Yeah, and was that even an interview? I mean, I guess the highlight was him ripping the mic.
He got the mic from
I know the
DC.
mic integrity on DC there. It's questionable.
Bad news. Actually, we saw that twice today. We saw that Derek Chisora took the microphone and held onto it for 5 minutes, which is exactly why you never give up the mic if you're a broadcaster. DDP, clearly someone told him in his ear to go get it, because that could have turned out to be a disaster. But he was gracious in defeat as well. It's going to be interesting because the gimmick, right? The gimmick doesn't hit the same if you have performances like that. The people are very quick to turn on you. So, tough spot for him. And I was feeling some frustration out of Eric Nixick. Imagine preparing someone knowing that they could probably do better, and they're not going for broke. They're not emptying the tank. As impressive as his win was against Israel, this one wasn't. This wasn't an impressive performance out of him. And I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting anything all that different. I thought the first fight wasn't that entertaining. I didn't think he did enough to warrant a second fight this soon, and I thought Dricus was going to, show that there was a gap, and I think he did just that. I am excited for Dricus versus Khamzat. That is a proper, fresh, fun title fight. Do we have to wait until October for it? That's 8 months from now. I would guess probably yes, right?
Yeah, the answer is probably yes. I mean, there was rumors that he was going to be in Australia tonight, and he was not. He was still in Russia.
God.
We talked about this. You have to wait because Khamzat's the A side in this equation. I know Dricus is on this run right now, and Dricus is the champion, and he deserves a lot of respect. He mentioned being top 3 pound for pound. I'm not sure about that, but he's up there, right? He's top 5, top somewhere in that range. But truth be told, Khamzat is the A side of this. This was the Khamzat sweepstakes. This was the next guy who's going to get in this opportunity, and Khamzat's going to step in there. So you have to wait. You have to wait until Khamzat can do it and Khamzat's ready. I think we're kind of like all aligned. That's a no-brainer, right? It has to be Khamzat. I know he was looking at it.
It's fun to say the Alex Pereira thing. But both of them have business to handle in their own way.
More interesting to me is potentially who could be next for Strickland. You talked about his high point being the Israel Adesanya fight. Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. Is that the fight to make?
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that. I mean, you say more interesting. I highly disagree that that's the more interesting talking point right now.
Well, this one, but Khamzat feels like a foregone conclusion, right?
Yeah,
there's nothing
I understand.
to really discuss.
I understand. I guess I'm really curious to see how like below Khamzat shakes out, because you have Imavov there, who wants a title shot, and you have Caio Borralho there as well, right? And maybe you could throw out Borralho versus Strickland, but they were training together this week, so I doubt that's going to happen. We've already seen Imavov versus Strickland. I'm just seeing if there's a guy that he could fight in the interim.
I mean, do you think they do the rematch with Imavov? Like, he probably wants his get back there, but you mentioned it when I brought this up at some point, I think last week. It was like, well, then if Strickland wins that, then he's right back in like the title contention. And at this point, as long as DDP holds the belt, you can't give Strickland another shot.
No.
Yeah, I think it makes things messy. The only fight I would want right now for those two guys are for them to fight each other, Imavov and Borralho. I think that's the fight that makes a lot of sense. I really like the Strickland versus Izzy fight, and it seems like Izzy's, his juices are flowing. It seems like he's right back to work. He's posting things on his Instagram story of him rewatching the fight multiple times. He was back at his hotel like 30 minutes after the fight rewatching it. So it doesn't seem like he is someone who wants to sail off into the sunset with nothing left to prove, which is nice if you're a fan of his. And by the way, congratulations to Israel and Kelvin Gastelum. It was announced this evening that their fight from back in 2019 in A-Town Down, is going to the Hall of Fame.
They need to go back to my city, man.
Yeah, UFC 236. You know what's so crazy about that fight and that card? People may forget now, that was one of those cards, this happens from time to time, where they can't find a main event. Like 300, they couldn't find a main event. And that was one of those cards that they could not find any title fights for. And so they made the Poirier-Holloway fight, which, was Holloway moving up from 145. They just kind of like threw that one together. And they made this one an interim title fight, the greatest interim title fight of all time, as the main event. Like, I remember that card was in April, and I remember the news breaking like late January or early February. Like, it was getting kind of tight. They had nothing for that card. Highlight of my week, that trip to Atlanta, I got to go to the Braves batting practice and hang out with my guy Josh Donaldson. That was a lot of fun. Wow. And by the way, shout out to Coach Mike Brown, formerly of the Sacramento Kings, as of just a couple weeks ago, texting me saying, "Hey, I'm at the fight. Are you here?" I told him I wasn't. And I said, "You're at the fight in Australia." He said he went on vacation. And I said, "Did you go like for the fight, or did you go on vacation and it just kind of worked out?" He said, "No, I centered my vacation around this card." That's how hardcore of a fan Mike Brown is. And I'm not talking about Mike Brown from ATT. I'm talking about, former coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, my guy, my former coach.
Yeah, in attendance. So I thought that was...
and then Missoula, Celtics guy.
Missoula's a big
hardcore. Absolutely hardcore. Former Nigerian national team head coach Mike Brown as well. So perhaps you got to see Israel Adesanya there. But anyway, I actually don't mind that idea at all, Izzy versus Strickland. But I don't think we're going to see Izzy back for a minute here. So maybe down the line, and probably not going to see Strickland as well. It looked like that nose was hurting.
I mean, that replay was insane when he first got hit and it went completely sideways. And then I thought he was just getting bothered by it. The fact that he was just trying to correct it shows the toughness. That was insane durability from him.
Can I add something, guys? Like, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer. I know you guys have been on air for like 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Go ahead.
As down as I was about sort of like what we saw there in the main event, especially from Strickland, I am the complete opposite, the 180 version of that regarding Zhang Weili. I'm in awe of Zhang Weili. I'm in awe of what she did tonight. I'm in awe of her as a fighter. I'm in awe of her evolution. I'm in awe of her skills. I think she's the number one pound for pound fighter in the world as far as female MMA is concerned. She is so damn good. She is so damn impressive. To do that to Tatiana Suarez, tonight was supposed to be a coronation for Tatiana Suarez. Tonight was supposed to be finally she gets the belt. The one that we thought was going to fight for the belt in 2018 and then 2019 and then 2021 and 2022 and 2023 and 2024 and finally in 2025. Perhaps we learned that, a whole year off dealing with stuff isn't maybe good going into a title fight. I don't know. Or perhaps Zhang Weili is just that damn good. But for her to get dominated like that in the first round, and when I say dominated, she was taken down and there wasn't much activity. Let's be honest. There wasn't much damage. But it was like, oh my God, we're about to see 4 more rounds of this and it's not going to look good. To be able to figure things out and stuff in the second and third rounds, all the takedowns, Tatiana did land in the 4th and 5th. But how about this? Zhang landing a takedown on Tatiana Suarez. First time in Suarez's career that she's taken down. And to see how tough she was, she rocked her as well. I think it was in the 3rd round. To me, that was 49-46. She won 2, 3, 4, and 5. Very easy fight to score as well. Blown away. We talked all week that she was the underdog and how surprising that was to a degree. First time in her UFC career since the Andrade first title fight that she's the underdog. We need to stop doubting Zhang Weili because she is quickly starting to enter that conversation. I don't want to make this about that conversation, but as one of the greatest strawweight fighters of all time and soon to be one of the greatest female fighters of all time. That was supremely impressive. She broke Tatiana Suarez mentally. Like, Tatiana Suarez was done by the end of that fight, and we have never seen her in that kind of state. We're used to 30 to 27s for Tatiana Suarez. And so for her to be in her first title fight and experience something like that, she'll be back. People get title fights and they stumble and they come back. No problem there. But tonight it's about Zhang Weili, the MVP of this card, the most impressive fighter on this card, in my opinion. And to see how far she has come from just sort of being like oh, great, there's a Chinese-born female fighter on the card. Remember, no one thought she deserved a title shot against Jessica Andrade all those years ago. To now becoming this, golly, she is outstanding. I am truly in awe of what she did tonight.
Yeah, a true pound-for-pound great right now. And I heard a lot of chatter on the broadcast. I was surprised a little bit, I have to admit, of just like almost feeling like they were saying unanimously she's the strawweight GOAT. I don't know. Do you have an opinion on that? Do you feel like she's the best strawweight of all time?
I don't know. She's certainly very well-rounded and has a very different, game to Joanna Jędrzejczyk. But, we tend to get into these conversations in the moment. We're prisoners of the moment. Let's judge her on her entire, career and body of work. But she's entering that conversation. It's not a crazy take per se, but to me, the take is she's the number one pound for pound female fighter in the world. Previously, I had Valentina Shevchenko as number one. I think you guys did as well, right? I think everyone did.
Yeah.
No, I've had Zhang.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've had Zhang for a minute.
Okay, well, kudos to you, because today sealed it for me. Today absolutely sealed it. And then I started to think, okay, like, where does she go from here? And I guess it's Virna Jandiroba, right? If you start to look at the top of that strawweight weight class, she's beaten a lot of those people.
She's the only one left.
Yeah, and she's the only one left. Now, someone did mention, I don't know if it was on the broadcast or somewhere else, the Shevchenko fight is supremely interesting.
I was going to say, if not Virna, let's go Valentina.
That's the one. But Valentina has, she has Manon Fiorot. She's got our girl Jasmine waiting in the wings. There's a few more fights for her there. Fiorot really deserves it. Like, let's be honest. And she's lost a little bit of momentum, right? That fight that you guys went to, Manon Fiorot, in Atlantic City, that was in March of last year.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, give her the Manon Fiorot fight. They do that. I mean, when was the last time we saw Zhang before this? UFC 300? The Yan Jianan fight? She takes some time off, and then she moves up to 125. She takes some time off and gets bigger, gets adjusted to the 125, and then they do that fight.
She's jacked. She's jacked at 115. She is.
She'll be huge at 125. The strength tonight against Tatiana Suarez, like just that pure brute strength to just like stuff those takedowns, get takedowns of her own, and then on the feet, Tatiana had nothing for her. It really was. It was a masterclass. It was an absolute domination. I think we showed a graphic where it was like 232 of 290 strikes or something. I have it right here. 77.5% of the strikes that she threw landed. That is just complete domination.
Yeah, other than that, there's Mackenzie Dern. She's 6, but I think she probably needs a couple others. Suarez is up there. Xiaonan is up there. Andrade is up there. Lemos, Dern, Lucindo, Hibas. Anyone coming up?
For me.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not Verna's the only one at 115 that I'm like, okay, I think this makes sense. If it's not Virna, it's got to be somebody at 125.
Yeah, no, that's the one in my opinion. I really think that's the one. But man, I would love to see the Shevchenko fight. Like, who would you favor in that fight right now at 125? Who would you favor?
Shevchenko.
Yeah, Shevchenko, just because she's a natural for the weight class, but
man, I don't know.
You could talk me into a Zhang underdog bet.
There?
I mean, she was an underdog tonight against Tatiana. You would think they would make her an underdog against Valentina, pound for pound, 1 or 2 right now at her natural weight class.
I don't know, man. I would. She is so good. She is so good everywhere.
That was the biggest thing. Tatiana lacked being dynamic. All she could do was go for the takedowns, and even then she wasn't able to have a ton of success when she did get it to the mat. Just the rounded game of Zhang is just incredible.
I mean, she has really come a long way, and she wasn't always known as this well-rounded of a fighter. So kudos to her. And then the The post-fight interview afterwards was amazing.
We're speaking English now. We're just
The English is unreal, man. She doesn't need a translator anymore. Get them out of there.
She's amazing. No, she's very likable. She's very fun. She doesn't talk trash or anything like that for the most part, unless I've missed something as of late. I try to stay away from that sort of thing, if I'm being honest. She's just great. She is an absolute superstar. I mean, you can make a strong case that as far as, women's MMA in the UFC, she's arguably the most popular one. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing someone. Amanda Nunes is currently retired. Juliana's a little
How about
bit.
our girl Juliana Pena, baby?
Her, Shevchenko.
Yeah. Shout out to Juliana, yeah.
Tracy Cortez is really popular, but
well, I mean, I meant of like the top tier.
She's up there.
Title.
She's up there for sure.
In fact, Dana White is at the press conference right now, and this courtesy of Aaron Bronstetter of Sportsnet saying that Zhang Weili is a huge star for them and was trending number 1 for them 4 times during fight week. I guess that means on X, trending number 1 on X. I don't know. I thought, what's that one? What's the one that he always mentions? The Chinese social media?
Weibo.
Weibo, that's the big one. He always talks about how she gets like millions, if not billions, of views. 18,253 sold out, $7.7 million gate. That's USD, and that's the highest for any Australian show ever in UFC history. So they continue to to break some records over there. He did not say that Khamzat would be next. Like, he didn't officially confirm it, but agreed that Khamzat would be a big fight and that they'll discuss this later next week. He's talking about Jake Paul right now and all that stuff. Ooh. We can talk about that later. But no, just I guess he's been asked about the whole thing that happened this week with Canelo Alvarez. But this is a solid show. I think you guys were saying at the end of the watch party that wasn't one of the best. I personally thought it was fantastic. I thought it was deep. I thought it was, it was balanced throughout.
What is this?
Yeah, sure. What were your favorite moments? Give us more outside of the main event and the co-main.
Actually, that we have you on, I really was wondering.
I love the majority draw.
How you felt about Taliesin Teixeira's future at the heavyweight division. He feels like a real player.
Oh, everyone was very excited about him. Tremendous tattoos, big knee. And then hit him with the massive elbow, Justin Tafa. What was that, 32 seconds?
Yeah, about 32, 37 seconds. And you mentioned the draw, Jimmy Crute. Where does he go from here? Now 2 draws in his last 5.
Yes. The funny thing about Jimmy Crute is that, he took this long layoff. He had to fall in love with the game again. And I thought early on looked quite good there. I believe that was a 10-8 round to start.
Yeah, every judge had it that way.
Yeah, we scored it that way too.
And then, just like the phoenix who rises from the ashes, it was like we were seeing. You're looking at the scorecards here. It was like you were seeing the soul of Bellator rise from the ashes as Rodolfo Bellato.
Just 1 hour short.
Rodolfo Bellato dropped the R and resurrected Bellator.
I mean, he came back. He came back like the Phoenix, 2-3. To make it a majority draw. So, that was big business. And
great corner work from Alex Pereira.
Yeah, he was very active in the main event.
Yeah. Team went 0-1-1 tonight. Rodolfo with the draw. Strickland, unfortunately, getting the loss.
I totally forgot that he was in Strickland's corner because I was so focused. Was he actually in the corner? I saw him wearing the gear afterwards there, but was he actually?
There. Oh, yeah, man.
He was there?
He was posted up there in the stare down. He was staring DDP down.
I was so focused on Nixick because I love listening to Nixick in those moments. By the way, shout out to Jake Matthews. He has an incredible streak of just like winning one, losing one, winning one, losing one. But it feels like he's been in the UFC forever. I feel like we've watched Jake Matthews.
This is 21 fights now.
Insane. I feel shout out to Dennis of Submission Radio. Did a great job of breaking everything down on the boys in the back on Thursday. And he's right. Like, this kind of feels like, shit or get off the pot time for Jake Matthews. And I thought he looked solid. He's growing up in front of our eyes. Early 30s now. He's not a baby anymore.
No, he's officially a UFC vet. 21 fights. Unbelievable.
Yeah, there were some okay performances in the prelims. I thought Alexandre Topuria, I was going to say Pantoja, that was a solid debut for him, right?
Yeah, nothing to complain about. It wasn't anything that's going to make the highlight reel, but I mean, he dominated pillar to post. It was a clear victory for him for sure. I'm excited to see where he goes from here.
What did you guys think of the stoppage in the curtain jerker?
I'm fine with it. He
Completely
put him
fine.
on guard.
I saw a lot of people upset about that one. I didn't think it was that egregious.
I think that's the Anshul Jubilee hive, man. He's got a lot of diehard fans.
Yeah, you
The
think
way
so?
yeah, for
Hey,
sure.
representing India.
The way he went
I know,
down.
but I don't know if a lot of those people were upset because of the the flag that he was representing. I don't know. I just think that they saw him getting up there, but I
Yeah.
think that was more just, I don't know, instincts. I was actually okay with it. I was surprised at all the vitriol.
No,
Yeah, I'm all right with it.
completely okay with it. The way he went down, that was it.
How'd you guys do with your picks?
Well,
What picks?
We did well. Me, Rick, and Frank. We all got right on our parlay pals. Pizza Carroll once again cost the parlay.
Wow, PT.
Is he about
You know
to
what?
show up?
I feel like there needs to be a rule when PT busts the parlay, he's got to wake up and do the post show. That has to be the
Yeah.
I'm okay with this
The
rule.
punishment.
Yeah, there has to wake up and do the post show. We were throwing out the idea that he's out next week.
We were going to invoke
wow.
the 2022
Yeah, he just goes,
rules.
He just goes on timeout.
Serious. You're kicking him out.
No, you
Not
got to sit
kicking him
one
out permanently. Just a timeout. Think about his actions.
Who?
He's going to sit in the corner for a little bit.
Earlier in the night, GC said he has to call him into his office. Like PT has to report on Monday morning to GC.
Who replaces him, or do you just go with three
No, we just go 3.
for the big Jared Cannonier,
Yeah.
Gregory Rodriguez fight?
RoboCop.
Yeah,
Killer Gorilla versus RoboCop.
yeah, I could see that. No, I mean,
Is that a better
maybe-
card than tonight?
Nah, that's not. But by the way, I gotta say, low key, last week's card might have been better than tonight's card.
Low
I know
key?
people
Not low
bought
key,
it.
not low key at
Low-key.
all.
Yeah, I know.
The highest key there's ever been. What do you mean?
1,000%.
I know people paid for this one. I know people paid for it, but
Is it rude of me to say this might have been like the first watch party where like halfway through it I was like, in my head, I was like, man, this
Yeah.
is tough.
It's tough.
You
It's
were
tough.
saying, yeah.
Yeah, this one's tough.
But I think Zhang saved the day, despite the fact it was not like if you told someone 49-46 or 50, nah, I can't be 50 to 45, 49-46, you would be like, okay, I didn't really miss much. But because it was so spectacular and because she closed as the underdog, I really, really enjoyed that fight.
Me
And
too.
I'm curious to see how Tatiana rebounds. And now I'm excited to see Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat. I just hope we get it sometime soon.
My prediction, the fight was just about to start where me and Rick were doing final predictions on the watch party. I said Zhang will win and Tatiana will never fight for a title again.
Wow.
That was my prediction going into the fight.
Why is that?
I just think she's going to win. We just never see Tatiana. She's already 34. You know, Zhang's got other people to fight. I could be wrong, but that was my prediction going in.
I mean, you also have to account for like the injury history and things like that.
That's the thing. I mean,
Also,
the fact
you
that she
wonder where
made it to the fight, I was worried about that.
You wonder where the confidence is at
Yeah.
this point too. Like I actually, round 1 was incredibly close. I totally understand scoring it for Tatiana, but live I scored as Zhang, so I had it 50-45 Zhang.
Wow.
I actually
Really?
had 2
'Cause
shutouts.
you didn't think that there was any damage whatsoever.
Yeah, I just felt like she didn't do anything from top. I know she racked up 3 minutes of control, but I felt like Zhang with the 1 minute did better.
Before we go, guys, as we round third here, there were some news and notes. The Miami card, UFC 314, was officially announced for
Says
April 12th. Yeah, home of the Miami Heat, former home of one Jimmy Butler. That was announced for April 12th. That's going to be a huge week for TKO because the following weekend is WrestleMania 41, and then very exciting for me personally, UFC 315 heading to La Belle Province. Yeah,
Let's go. I'm
Very
assuming
excited about that.
Uncrowned HQ will
Oh my
be
God.
in
At my
Montreal that
parents'.
week. All of our
my
shows
parents'
from Mr. and Mrs. Helwani's house.
Let's do it.
I'm in.
That will be May 10th. No fights announced for either card. I have some thoughts as to what is going to headline the Miami card and the Montreal card. We could talk about that on Monday. But those two cards were officially announced. So that's 314 and 315. We did get a main event for the return to Mexico City on March 29th. That is going to be Brandon Moreno against Steve Erceg. Like that fight at 125 pounds. Any objections?
No, I love that fight.
Not at all. It's an amazing fight.
Wasn't sure if that was out there. I love that fight.
Oh yeah, why? What do you mean if it was out there?
Like if it had been reported already and I just missed it. I absolutely love that fight.
No, that's a great fight and great for the market as well. Brandon Moreno getting to fight back in Mexico because he missed a couple of those previous ones. So I love that. And we do have to give a shout out. I don't know. I should have mentioned this to On Air Jordan. How nice was it to see Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira sitting together in the stands? Like we take these things for granted now, but like Izzy's hanging out with Robert Whittaker, then he's hanging out with Pereira. We're seeing a lot of these old rivalries come together, and it's very nice.
Look at
there they are.
There they are.
Even got a smile out of Pereira.
I mean, speak of Miami, like when he did the freaking bow and arrow thing, like could you have imagined this?
It was less than 2 years ago, man.
Yeah.
Israel's been on a tour, man. He's just been racking them up.
This one, the Whittaker, John Jones, like a year and a half ago. I mean,
DDP,
him and DDP
the cordial
hugging
nature
afterward. He doesn't really hold grudges too much.
I hope Plino's not watching because like we very clearly cropped him out of that photo. That's
damn, Jordan.
Jordan, that's tough, man.
Plino, friend of the show.
Shout out to Plino,
that is
man.
tough.
Legend.
Yeah. No, he was sitting right there. It was a nice shot. But yeah, those were the news and notes from this past evening's card. And shout out to the great Dominic Cruz. He announced his retirement a couple of days ago. I know that I don't think you guys were able to talk about him, but I know PT was able to talk about him. But we will talk more about him on Monday. And I could let you know that I'm watching the post show right now on ESPN Plus, and one of the gentlemen who's on the desk sitting right next to Brendan Fitzgerald is Dean Thomas, and he'll be joining us in studio on Monday, and we could get his insights on this card among many other things as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Let's go. Big
Love
Dean
that.
Thomas. Love his insights during the fights, man.
Yeah, and I love your insights during the fights as well. I was going to say
sweet.
yours, but it didn't make sense. What do you say, y'all's?
Yeah,
We'll take a
insight.
y'all's. We'll take a y'all's.
Yeah, y'all's insight.
What's the commute back home like with the snow situation?
I don't know, man. My mom texted me halfway
have to
through.
We actually brought a bunch of cots up here.
We might just sleep in the studio.
Guys, I have some bad news to end the night on. It's been bothering me all day. Just kind of got into a fender bender today.
Uh-oh.
You all right?
It's-
You all right?
Yeah.
Back hurt a
it's
little
just
bit?
Nah, just the car now.
Car's
This
okay?
car. This is the same car. The one that my
Cursed.
dad. I said it to my kids. I said, this car is cursed. Third time now.
But everybody's
How does this
okay,
happen?
most importantly.
Everyone's okay. It's just a pain in the butt, the insurance, the
Yeah.
rental car, you take it in, you got to go get it appraised, all this. Who needs this in their life? So anyway, everyone's okay. Felt bad for, the girl in the other car. She was a high school student and was very, very nervous. She was shaking and had me call her mom, who was in Florida.
Oh, wow.
So I had to
my
tell her
Lord.
that everything was okay. Yeah, she was a kid. It's a scary thing, but everyone's okay, and we had a great night. What a night it was, UFC 312, and I can't wait to do this tomorrow. We're doing our Super Bowl watch party here at Uncrowned. It's going to be a grand old time.
I wasn't even aware of that.
Nah, just kidding.
okay.
Fuck that shit.
Oh,
Fuck
yeah,
that
you're not
shit.
even watching.
I'm not watching.
Veto.
Well, you're at least going to
and-
tune into the halftime show.
Nah, during the halftime show, I'm gonna pop in Certified Lover Boy and just close my eyes and listen to that great album. Performance of the night bonus.
Certified Lover
Rong Ju
Boy,
and Cody
Certified.
Steele. That was a great fight. What was that, first round? That was a round of the year
Shout out to
contender
Rong
right
Ju,
there.
man. That was a fantastic fight. Shout out to On Air Jordan, diehard Rong Ju fan, randomly.
Is he?
Yeah,
Yes,
bet
damn.
him. Yeah, he loves him.
And your boy, Towson Teixeira, performance of the night. Yo, Zhang Weili didn't get a performance of the night bonus.
That's insane. That
So
is
who's the other one? Oh, the first round knockout, right?
Nah, fuck, I lost it. Salkilo.
That was,
Quillen?
Oh, yeah.
The 10-second knockout
Ju-
or whatever it was.
yeah,
the current jerker.
those are the two performances. Yeah.
Yeah, come on. Zhang Weili doesn't get it.
That's crazy.
That's
that was an
crazy
unreal
talk,
performance.
guys. Well, it's been a great night, guys. We've said it all. We've done it all. but I think it's time to go. At least for me.
You keep saying it was a great night. I feel like
this card was,
it wasn't a great night.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great night. Sorry, I'm trying to be positive. People
No,
want
no,
positivity.
It was.
There's some music.
It was a great adjacent night. It was a great-ish night. It was not a great night.
It was a tale of two nights.
It was a tale of two nights. All right, man, we'll see you tomorrow.
You did the
I
old
guess.
after midnight.
See you tomorrow?
Yeah.
After midnight?
See you next year.
No, not that. Not yet.
Is this
No,
a sign
but
off? Is this it?
You guys take us out.
I feel like this is the way this card
I feel
ends.
like
you know.
this is it, bro.
This is it.
We don't have
Wow.
anything else to say.
Goodbye,
By the way,
everyone.
how come it's not snowing out the window?
That's it's after. It's post snow. Post snow. Post
love
snow
it.
on the post show.
Yeah.
I was trying to look.
Well, thanks for joining,
This was
everybody.
this was the time that you could have wiped.
Yeah.
See you, man.